Welcome back. Please remember you can favorite any seminar presentation or any content at the festival on your smartphones. Just use the Cannes Lions Festival app, and then you can watch it at your leisure after the festival just using your delegate number. Now, for our next session. Always on, 24/7, whatever term you use, the age of the agile consumer is here. Cheil's Head of Innovation, Daniele Fiandaca, and Samsung Electronics' Young-hee Lee team up to explain how the rise of the agile consumer is forcing brands to find new ways of becoming part of consumers' lives, and how technology is enabling this. Please give them both a warm welcome to the stage.
Buon pomeriggio, masa aikia, guten tag, namaskar, abari zamachana.
And 안녕하세요.
For those that don't speak Italian, Hindi, German, Swahili, or Korean, good afternoon. So today, we're going to be talking about live share. Before I do so, we're also going to be talking about what it means now to be living in a global village in this advancing 21st century. But first, let me reintroduce myself. I'm Daniele Fiandaca. I'm the Head of Innovation at Cheil Worldwide. I'm absolutely delighted to be back here in Cannes speaking to this wonderful and good-looking audience. But I'm also delighted to be standing alongside Young-hee Lee, who is Executive VP and Global Marketing Chief of Samsung's Mobile Communications Division. So what are we going to be talking to you about today? So today, we're going to be talking to you about live share. For those of you that heard me speak last year, please don't start leaving the room. We're not going to be doing the same talk as last year, although we were slightly tempted to see if anyone actually noticed. What we're going to be doing is actually building on that talk. And our talk today is going to be actually split into 3 areas. The first area is them. Them is that agile consumer was mentioned before. So our audience, the people that we speak to every day as either marketers or agencies. The second area of our talk is going to be us. So us as agencies, us as brands, us as an industry. And the third area we're going to talk about is it, with it being technology. And understanding how technology is changing behaviors of not only our audience, but also of us as marketers, brands, and as agencies. So let me start with them. So about 3 years ago, we approached Chris Riley of Studio Riley, who's a bit of a brand guru himself, and we asked him to help us understand what we now term as the agile consumer is doing. What are their core values? What actually motivates them? So we went across 5 continents. We got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of data. We crunched that data to understand who was actually creating key cultural influences around the world. And then we went and we spoke to some of those people, and a lot of those people, to understand what really motivated them. So, firstly, there's this girl in Beijing. She's one of millions of people who now spend lots of time online. Internet communities, for girls like her in cities like Beijing, have actually become fundamental to them consuming lots of social media data, especially for urban immigrants who are far away from their family and friends and rely on the internet for community and solace. In this particular photo, she's actually shopping online using her mobile phone. She is one of a new generation of shoppers who now expect their shopping experiences to be instant, everywhere, and personal. And what about this guy here in Cape Town? This is a story of how young Africans are actually reclaiming their heritage and actually creating a new and fresh, dynamic African culture. This guy here actually owns a record shop. It is one of the best record shops in the world. In the same way that Stevie Wonder actually channeled African culture into America in the 1970s, as did many artists, he is now channeling Stevie Wonder back into Africa. He has, as I said, if you get to go to Cape Town, go to his store, he is creating some amazing experiences for his customers on a daily basis that most brands would actually be jealous of. He is part of a community who is celebrating the relationship between African culture and global culture, and energetically getting involved with that culture. Africa is having a growing influence on our agile consumers. And we predict that in the next 5 to 10 years, Africa will have increasing influence in areas like fashion and music trends. What about this guy in Mumbai? What do you think he's doing? I'm just going to give you 10 seconds. Have a look at the photo. Have a guess what you think he's doing. So, maybe he's just phoning for a taxi to be picked up. Or maybe he's just woken up with an awful hangover after his bachelor party, saying, "Where are my friends? Where are my shoes? Have I missed my wedding?" Or maybe some of you had a more stereotypical view of this guy, which I'm rather ashamedly, when I asked this same question on Facebook, a couple of my friends had very stereotypical answers to that question. The reality is very different. This is an extremely successful entrepreneur. He has a boutique on the right side of the road and a successful boutique on the left side of the road. It just so happens those boutiques are so loud that the only place he can actually feel that he can make a decent business call is actually in the center of that road. This man is at the heart of a vital and growing Mumbai, which has a whole mix of Indian cultures, which following the elections is ready to actually start to have a much stronger role within the global economy. So, what did we learn from these people plus dozens like them? How do we define the agile consumer? The first thing, which I don't think will come as any surprise to any of you, is that the agile consumer is in tune with technology. The rate of change we're now seeing is absolutely amazing. And the acceleration of change is only, as per Moore's law, going to get faster. The difference is this audience has been used to that change. They're actually able to internalize the changes much better than my generation or my parents' generation, which means they can understand how best to utilize this technology more than anyone else. So let's take an example of some of the changes. So I recently spoke to an anthropologist who told me that my generation, over the last 5 years, we have actually moved from being able to do 1.5 tasks at a time to 1.7 tasks at a time. So that's 1.5 to 1.7 in 5 years. So we're adapting. Okay, I can almost speak to my wife while watching TV. But if we then look at this new generation coming through, they're used to this. Now, they are in a world where they're curating, creating, and sharing content constantly. And as a result of that, their wires are slightly rewired. They can actually multitask and do 5 things at a time on average. So they can watch Game of Thrones on their tablet. Series 3, by the way. I don't want to give away any spoilers. I haven't seen season 4 yet. They're listening to One Direction on their PC. They are creating a piece of content which they want to share with their friends because they really want Joffrey to die soon. They are actually searching online because they want to find out what Tyrion is actually up to. And finally, because they're on Series 3 and America's already got Series 4, they decide to pick up their phone and actually Skype their American friend that they know is already one series in front. So again, they're using their phone for Skype, and there's a reason for that, because this agile consumer is mobile first. People talk about it being the year of mobile. It's not just the year of mobile, it's a decade of mobile. It is the generation of mobile. So this year alone is predicted that 2 billion phones will be sold, which means at the end of the year, there will be 4.5 billion phones in circulation. And let's put that into perspective. There are only 3.5 billion people with toothbrushes. Okay? Quite incredible. There are 5 times as many mobile phones as there are PCs. And if we look at our so-called millennials, they have on average 42 apps per phone and 94 searches per day, which is quite incredible. Yet, only 43% of marketers say they have mobile in their communications plan. It seems that marketers aren't as agile as the consumers they want to speak to every day. And by the way, those consumers are youthful. When we set out to do this study, as I said, we crunched the data. We didn't go out of our way to find young people. We went out the way to find the people that we felt were influencing culture. It just so happened that those people tended to be younger. They tended to be younger because of exactly the reason I talked about before, which is they can internalize that technology much better than we can. I think there's also a kind of bravery thing as we get older. I think it becomes harder for us to make those leaps, but I think that technology makes a really big difference. And the third and final thing that we found is that they were defined in what we call the majority world. So I'm just going to show you a chart of the top 20 biggest cities in the world, because what these people were, they were urban. They were coming from the urban cities. And so if we look at the top 20, what you'll see is they were just as likely to be actually influencing culture from their bedrooms in Shanghai, Seoul, Delhi, Mexico City, Manila, Sao Paulo, than they were Tokyo, New York, or London. And you've probably guessed, I grew up my whole life in London. I'm proud that we've got the biggest city in Europe, yet we only made it to number 20 in this list. At least we made it. So, let's come to our second part of our talk. What does that mean for us? Well, first of all, I think it's a bit of a wake-up call for an advertising industry that's actually been driven by Western ideas through Western eyes. I myself spent much of my career in London, so I'm within that group. I've just been very lucky to have spent the last 3 years working in a Korean company where there is no doubt that they see the world differently to us. And again, coming back to the world, coming back to these countries, we believe that there is a new geography forming. We believe these are the people and these are the cities that are actually going to drive our global economy and the cultures. So let's take an example. So this is Isadora Faber. You may have heard of her story. She is a fantastic example of an agile consumer. Someone that actually understands what it means to now live in a global village. She is constantly looking out there for inspiration from other agile consumers. So she actually read a blog about a Scottish girl called Martha Payne, who had started putting up articles about her unhealthy and awful school dinners. And she read about how this girl had actually changed behaviour, how she changed school dinners. She was only 9, yet she was able, just by doing this blog, to change behaviour. So Isadora, what she did is she set up a Facebook group. It was called Diário da Classe a Verdade. Apologise to all the Portuguese in the room. I clearly can't speak Portuguese. But it actually means School Diary, the Truth. And what she actually did is she started documenting her school. So she showed how the fans were broken and how the water fountains were broken. And for anyone that's seen this wonderful World Cup so far, fantastic result for Italy 2 nights ago, you'll have seen how hot it's been. Can you imagine being in a school where you've got no fans and no water? She showed photos of the basketball courts with no roofs, and she even complained about the teachers. Within 2 months, she had 400,000 people following her. She'd created enough press coverage to actually get all of these things repaired. And believe it or not, it wasn't just her school that started to be repaired. It was the schools around her. She started to really initiate change. And for all the marketers in the room, beware. You know, she expects the brands that she deals with to actually be ethical and to be honest. Lie to her, don't give her your heart, and she will leave you in her millions. And she actually is a fantastic and a typical agile consumer who, in this particular case, my colleague Chris Chalk describes as a fast learner who acts quickly and initiates rapid change. And in this particular example, she initiated rapid change in order to actually give a better way of her fellow school pupils and ultimately Brazil to have better conditions. But before she sounds like Joan of Arc, actually the agile consumer is still grounded by meaningful ideas, very much the similar ideas that most of you will probably understand. She still needs to be loved and be loved, to have respect from her family and have respect from the world around her. She is constantly looking for ideas that give her validation of her self-worth. And she's looking for a diversity of ideas and influences to help her grow and learn. And finally, she is looking for some fun. Yeah, she is like the rest of us, wants to have some fun, something I'll come back to later. But the best thing about the agile consumer is that they've embraced the tension between quick learning, fast acting, and rapid change, as well as thoughtful, meaningful, and long-term, which I believe is one of the biggest challenges that still faces most businesses today. And if we wanted to sum up the agile consumer in one word, it would be the word soul. What they have is soul. They are mobile and active, fast and furious, but this is all anchored in deeper emotional truths that make them respond to the security and happiness that a meaningful relationship provides. So, we've gathered all this data, we've done all this data crunching, we've started to understand who the agile consumer is, where they're from, and what actually motivates them. So what have we, us, as Cheil, actually started to do with that data? Well, for a start, we've started to look at different ways of actually engaging with that agile consumer. And the next campaign I'm going to show you is a good example of that.
Smartphones are built by tech firms, by engineers, technologists and geeks. But they're used by real people in the real world. So real people are the best people to put new stuff to the test. Real life, no holds barred. That's the simple truth that led us to giving lots of movers and shakers the GS4 range to demo, however they wanted. People like him, her, and them. Vloggers, artists, filmmakers, street sports, dancers and DJs. We gave them all amazing technology from Samsung to make amazing things. The result was Over to You, a YouTube channel as awesome as the people who made it, and a real-world online product manual like no other. Made for our audience, by our audience. 23 influencers, 25 pieces of brilliant content, and a highly targeted audience of more than 1.5 million on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. We think that together, they've created the best consumer mobile phone campaign ever. But as the campaign says, over to you.
So we're pretty proud of that, but why do we think it worked? It worked for us because actually we gave this audience, the agile consumer, the products, and we asked them to play with it. We didn't tell them what to do. We didn't tell them what content they needed to produce. We just said play with it and produce the content that you think it works. We put the technology in their hand. And so what that enabled them to do is start to see what this technology could do for them in their lives. And so they were more than happy to actually share that with their communities, with their followers, and with their friends. And to a certain extent, that's what LiveShare is. LiveShare is having people that are willing to actually work and engage with brands because they believe those brands can actually add value to their lives. So if we want to look at it from a brand perspective and a business perspective, and the other side of that, LiveShare is really finding innovative ways of enhancing people's lives, which is a great point at which to hand you over to Young Hee that's going to talk to you a bit about Samsung.
So today, I would like to share what Samsung Mobile is doing in order to meet the needs of these agile consumers. Let's start with agility. I work for a company that has taken this concept of agility to an incredible length, embracing use and technology in order to advance our lives into another level. Here's the brief introduction on Samsung's achievement. We are #1 in sales and market share in smartphone in worldwide. And we launch this flagship level of products 2 times per year in each device, generating more than 100 million units per year. This led Interbrand ranking to 8th position in year 2013. Clearly, we have to work hard in order to achieve this. For instance, we register on average 4,600 patents a year. We also give a lot of efforts to lead in the matters of designs. We are very proud also to commercialize LTE technology in the market. But there is more to this success than our achievement. It is not because we have been lucky, but because we've been studying our consumers. And also we learn to be agile too. Life share is not only our marketing strategy, it is, in fact, our business ethos. We do innovate at Samsung to enhance people's lives. We innovate to improve life for everyone, everywhere. We want to be a meaningful part in the daily lives of our consumers. That brings us to IT technology. Delivering innovation, meaningful innovation, is very important to us. Technology is meaningless unless it is accessible, usable, and simple. We don't do innovation for the sake of innovation itself. That's why our innovation is people-focused innovation, not product-focused innovation. A good example of this philosophy is the Galaxy Note. Listening to our consumers' pain point were carrying multiple devices. Average consumer were carrying 3 to 4 devices from smartphone, tablet, MP3, gamepad, notepad, etc. Our consumers wish to have all-in-one device in on-the-go situation. So Galaxy Note is the great example of the consumer, by the consumer, and for the consumer. As you can see, insight through life share drive us to be agile too. Sorry. So we brought this Galaxy Note to the market, and initial response from technology experts were very cynical. They denounced our Galaxy Note is very ridiculously giant phone. They said, S Pen is outdated and no one going to use. They said, 3.5-inch screen is perfect for the smartphone. However, our agile consumers thought it's brilliant. They accepted it greatly, and then they really liked it. That's why new category called tablet has been created thanks to Galaxy Note. Since after our first Galaxy Note in 2011, we've been evolving, introducing Galaxy Note 2 and 3. Now we are expecting to have our next Galaxy Note in this fall. Our evolution will be continued, learning from our consumers. Our efforts to learn our consumers and be part of our daily lives brought us not only creation of new category, but also led us to open a new era of wearable devices. Our consumers wanted to be connected 24 hours, 7 days, all the time. That's why we introduced Gear as the Galaxy companion device to be perfectly synced with our consumers. Let me introduce you very special twins, Samantha and Anais. This video illustrates perfectly how the relationship between our products and our consumers will have.
When I met my long-lost twin for the first time after 25 years, I realized that we share the same tastes, thoughts, and habits. It felt like we had always been in sync. We wanted to share our discovery with Samsung because it mirrors the concept behind the Gear and the Galaxy. Two devices always in sync, which are natural extensions of one another. Our journey of discovery was shared through Smart Posters, a mobile film that required two phones to watch and a main film. To complete the experience, people could then create their own two-sided movies to celebrate togetherness. Samsung Gear, always in sync.
So back to life share. Agility is not only characteristics of our consumers. Agility must be a characteristic of our brands, our brand managers, and of our agencies. Very often I'm being asked as a head of marketing in this fast-moving category, what keeps me up at night? Of course, like other marketeers, I'm checking whether my market share is gaining or losing, or our latest innovation is outpacing our competitors. But what really keeps me awake in the middle of night is the excitement. It's the matter how we wow our consumers. Well, as introduced, when our consumers do multitasking on a large screen display with a precise S Pen and connected 24 hours, 7 days through Gear, they felt, wow. When watching the video, your favorite video, and still web browsing and chatting to a friend on Skype, all at the same time, our consumers say, wow. And our latest Galaxy S5 gets 10% battery left, switching over to ultra power saving mode, and giving you another 24 hours of battery. Our consumers say, wow. Our latest Galaxy K zoom with 10 times optical zoom within thin body, our Galaxy, and our consumers say, wow. So as you heard, we have fantastic technology innovation stories. So the way we tell the story should be wow too. To be part of the conversation, responding to the events of wow, and now, not next week, not next month, we have to seize the moment. So we wish to be embedded in the popular culture. That's why we partnered with the Jay-Z when he introduced his secret album. So we gave away 1 million albums globally in order to reward our customers for their loyalty. We showed LeBron James using our product in daily lives. And 14 million consumers have chosen to watch this video because it is a glimpse into his real life. It is authentic to who he is and who we are as a brand. When I talk about seizing the moment, I'm thinking of part of being conversation. For example, at the Super Bowl moment. Even at those cars, I'm sure most of you watch this.
All right. Meryl, here's my idea, okay? So you were nominated, it's a record-breaking 18 times, right? So I thought we would try to break another record right now with the most retweets of a photo. So right now, I'm going to take a picture of us, and then we'll see if we can break the record for the most retweets. Okay. And then, yeah, you should get in here too, Julia. Lean in. Channing, if you can get in also. Channing, Bradley, will you come down? I want you in it. Jennifer, come in also.
I'll take it.
Brad, get in here.
I'll take it.
No, I'm doing it. Angie, Lupita. All right. Okay, wait.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, good. Wait,
This way.
wait a minute.
Tweeted this many times.
Meryl,
Want me to do it?
no, Meryl, can you take it, Meryl? Meryl, can you take it? I can't get everybody in here.
All right, I got it.
Just, okay.
Your arm.
All right.
My arm goes way.
All right.
My arm's definitely better.
Okay. Hey, that's good. Look at us.
Nice.
So this selfie Alan took was spontaneous. You cannot plan like this, but what you can do is you be there. In fact, this Oscar moment is VP rather than selfie. So we extend this cultural moment from selfie to VP. With our NX, our world first flip up camera, we take this into more cultural trend. So VP is not taking about you alone, but taking picture together, far more social behavior. So we take Jessica Alba to show how she will fit, and afterwards, we ask our consumers out there to whipping too. You know what they've done? They did whip it together. At Samsung, we are also always finding new ways of becoming part of people's lives when our consumers experience our products. So I will be showing you our London Portobello studio event, how we integrated our products into the local community. This also built to provide a local ecosystem whereby our store drove people into local business, while local business drove people into our store.
Welcome to Portobello Market, London. Come with me to explore Design Your Life with Samsung Galaxy Studio, a fantastic new community project that Samsung are having here to help small businesses with their everyday lives. I believe you've been putting recipes online and stuff. Tell me about that.
That's right, we've been using the scrapbook, we've been gathering recipes for the different types of mushrooms and putting them online.
Well, it's expanding your market stall to the world.
Basically, yes, which is really cool.
This market is famous for the individuality of its stores, and Samsung are here to help them celebrate their uniqueness. We're going to go visit one of the coolest hairdressers in town, 10500.
I love the fact that we can communicate with clients, the gear as well, to keep everything in control while you're working and busy and emails coming in, messages. It is definitely makes life much, much easier.
Is there anything you had to play with that you liked today?
It's amazing, like the whole kind of split screen technology.
Multi-window.
Yeah.
No, it's really smart. It's like a tiny computer.
You don't even have to Photoshop your pictures. It just takes off your blemishes.
Yeah, just straight there and left side.
Thank you so much.
You gotta get down there.
It's perfectly synced, especially with the little pen. It's easy to use and it works great.
Since we started this, we started tweeting and using social media, and we found a lot of people like it. For us, it's about quality and providing something that other places don't have.
We've got one for the children, so that when the children come in, they've got something to play with, so the mums are free to chat with the butcher about what they might like, and having the brand ambassador there to get them started, to get them using the pen, to touch the screen, and then to email themselves recipes that they've selected. It's working really well.
So there we have it, the Samsung Galaxy Studio in the heart of Portobello Market, London, where you can design your life to make every day easier and more enjoyable.
So far, I talked about the importance of wow, what that means to us at Samsung Mobile. Of course, introducing wow products is very important for us, but how to deliver is also very important. Here is our agency partner, Cheil, comes in this part. We together really strive for brilliant new ideas all the time. Not only build the business together, but also to add value to our brand.
Thank you, Young-hee. So, if you don't mind, if you can indulge me just the last 10 minutes, we're going to show you some of the work that we've been doing that both, I think, exemplifies what we mean by live share, but also the type of work that we believe these agile consumers want from us. The first example I'm going to show is from our brilliant Austrian team. I have one member at the front here, and I'll just show you the piece of work.
Well, according to the World Health Organization, cancer is the leading cause of economic loss.
With around 8.2 million people dying from the disease in 2012.
Cancer cases expected to surge by 70% worldwide in the next 20 years.
Scientists all over the world rely on protein similarity calculations, an essential part of research that requires vast amounts of computing power, which many labs simply can't afford. So what if we could help these researchers just with our smartphones? Introducing PowerSleep, an Android app developed for Samsung Austria in association with the University of Vienna, which makes it possible for smartphone users to donate unused processing power to research. PowerSleep works just like your average alarm clock app. By setting the alarm when you go to sleep, your smartphone receives small data packets from the university server, which it then calculates and sends back during the night. This way, smartphone users from all over the world can now donate their processing power for a greater good. Within 1 week, PowerSleep made it into the top download ranks all around the world. More than 650 international media introduced the idea, and Samsung saw the most active and positive engagement on social media in the brand's history. After 5 weeks, more than 180,000 donors from 196 countries have already calculated 1 million megabytes of data to help find a cure for cancer. And all that by contributing something we all love to do, sleeping. PowerSleep. Do good while you sleep.
So some people might consider that CSR, but it's far from it, because this is at the core of Samsung's DNA and why it's so great to work with them as a client, which is unless you put technology in the hands of people, it's absolutely meaningless. It's also why we built a robot. Let me introduce you to Samsung NX Rover. So if you just indulge us, we wanted to try and do the first ever CAN Wi-Fi. So if you can all get in the background, we're just going to take a couple of photos. My parents will be very proud.
Okay.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. So, clearly we didn't build that just to take photos of us on the stage. That wouldn't have been the best return of investment ever. Instead, again, talking about getting technology in the hands of people, this is the reason why we built this robot.
Meet Rover. When we first saw the Samsung Galaxy NX, we thought it was amazing. A professional-grade camera with 4G connectivity, so you can share quality images from anywhere instantly. But our challenge was getting photographers to believe that was possible, so we created a platform as unique as the camera itself to share the experience firsthand. The NX Rover bridged the gap between the camera and photographer. Created around the Galaxy NX, it was inspired by the product's design and functionality. Fully controllable online, anyone could get behind the lens, take photos and share them instantly via the camera's 4G. The rover set out on an incredible adventure, exploring the planet, visiting amazing locations and extraordinary events. It carried its own hashtag, allowing people to go online and see where it had been and who it had met along the way. No matter what their circumstance, experience or ability, people everywhere got involved.
我从来没有出过国，但是现在我可以说我在冰岛已经拍了时尚大片了。我即将成为一位著名的摄影师。
I'm really excited about Rome test driving the robot.
Wherever it went, crowds gathered. People struck poses for the online users, photobombed and followed it around. So far, the NX Rover has journeyed across the globe, snapping thousands of images which were shared with millions of people. Rover pulled some serious attention from the world's press.
While I'm here in London, the camera and robot I'm controlling are all the way over in Iceland.
This all translated into some real online engagement for our consumers and some beautiful photos. But the rover hasn't ground to a halt. In fact, it's just getting started. The NX Rover program has created a whole new way for people to demo 4G connected cameras. And has been so successful, we're working on a new rover to take the next generation of cameras and photographers out into the world.
So, of course, we're not suggesting that we have to always do something that's for good or something actually trials the camera. Sometimes we talked about is our audience is just like us. Who wants to have a friend that doesn't want to have fun? People want to have fun with brands, so we have to poke fun at ourselves sometimes. However, when we talked about Samsung's new micro router and what it was going to do for everyone, not everyone noticed that it was April the 1st.
No matter where we go, we expect to be able to upload photos or watch videos or take selfies. But our mobile signal doesn't always live up to our demands. What the world needs is internet everywhere. Introducing the next-gen Samsung micro router. It's small and light enough to go anywhere. But it's the way we're building the network that's really interesting. Samsung's pigeon-powered universal Wi-Fi.
If you think about that, it makes perfect sense. They're everywhere.
Hooking them up to super-fast Wi-Fi is a logical step.
The micro router is attached with a small pack, so it causes no discomfort. The really interesting thing to me is that pigeons are natural conductors of electricity because they have hollow bones, so they can recharge the router when they sit on wires.
At regular intervals, the pigeon's location will be tweeted, or cooed if you will.
We have learned that if you can get pigeons to congregate, you get really strong Wi-Fi, like the equivalent of 19 or 20G signal.
You can see that London's Piccadilly Circus has a very strong signal. This is a direct result of a very large kit of pigeons, kit being the collective noun for a group of pigeons. Ducks are another option.
If this pilot's successful, this could solve the problem of access to the internet everywhere.
Samsung's pigeon-powered universal Wi-Fi.
So, thank you. The reason that a lot of people found this April Fool's joke funny is because it actually was feasible. You know, they do actually expect someone like Samsung to be providing these innovative solutions to help everyday life. So just in summary, we've talked to you about the agile consumer. The agile consumer that is from the majority world, that's in tune with technology, and is expecting from us as brands and businesses that we are agile. Yeah, and we actually respond to their demands in this fast evolving, technology-focused world. And they also expect us to be authentic and add value. But as we've talked about, we believe that if we can get the technology in your hands, because I'm sure I've seen quite a few of you actually nod your heads because you are part of those agile consumers, we believe by slowly, we can make technology better and ultimately build a better tomorrow. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you to Cheil's Daniele Fiandaca and Samsung's Yonghee Lee. A short break now, and my colleague Matthew Marsh will return at 4 p.m. for a Mindshare session with BuzzFeed co-founder Jonah Peretti. See you at 4 o'clock.